Hello, I'm Ishani. Welcome and thank you for stopping by for this technique-rich video. It's part of a lovely card hop. This month I chose only the Brayer because I'm a crafter on a budget and I haven't bought a Gelli plate. And I love to squeeze out every penny invested in my tools. So today I'm going to squeeze out the Brayer. This hop is a great way to learn different techniques, so I hope you'll hop along. The list of the videos of all the artists in the hop are available in the description box below. For the first technique, I'm going to show you how beautifully you can create backgrounds with brayers. Few tips as we go along. When you try using brayer, use the most glossy paper that you may have. I'm using this paper that does not have a name but is quite like a photo paper and very glossy. I'll be using Distress Oxide inks just because these are the largest inks in my stash and also because they blend beautifully. You only go one way with the brayer. If you go up, you don't come down, or if you're coming down, you just keep coming down. If you want to change the rotation, change the paper, but not the way you roll the brayer. That way the ink always goes off your brayer from the same side. I have only one brayer, so I'll be cleaning off my brayer between the different colors. I am just taking a baby wipe and rolling my brayer over it and then clearing off the wetness with a dry cloth. I'm using light colors here. This is Punch Sugar and Shaded Lilac because I want a soft background for my card. I'm sorry that my camera is getting out of focus every time that I'm moving my hand. For blending the center portion, what I do is I take both my inks and apply the inks in a way that they are very close to each other. That way, when I roll my brayer, they are going to overlap at the midsection. I decided to add a little darker color above my shaded lilac, so I've taken wilted violet. And one of the problems with the brayer is that the edge of the brayer may leave harsh lines. So before I put my brayer on my paper, I take off the harsh lines by rolling it out on a paper so that I can get the ink off from the sides of the roller. Do you see how beautifully it blended, and the gradient it has is beautiful. I just did not want to stop playing with the brayer, so I thought of doing another color combination. I'm using peacock feathers in salty ocean for this blending, and I'll also add blueprint sketch later. And as I'm doing the braying, I noticed that there's a little spot, and then I realized if I had something soft underneath my paper like a foam pad, it may blend better. And it happened. I used a foam pad that I had and it is blending better when I have this foam pad. But when you try it, please put a paper over your foam pad, else the foam will also absorb some ink that you're braying. I'll just speed it up because I'm just braying, but I want to show you the end result because oh my god, I was shocked and I was so pleased with this background. What perfect ombre I got. What do you think about this technique and this background specifically? Let me know in the comments below if you liked it and if you've tried braying before for such beautiful seamless backgrounds. Now with the backgrounds ready, let's just convert them to cards. But one more thing, I accidentally rubbed my panel with my finger and I noticed that the powdery thing from the Distress Oxide ink after they had dried was coming off. So I rubbed it off with the cloth. And look at the shine, the gloss of the paper has come back and it looks better and it looks like printed. The theme of the hop is friendship, and I wanted to use this beautiful feather die by Sizzix, which was gifted by a dear friend Jasleen for my birthday, and what a better way to use it for this project. So I die cut a white colored feather for my ombre blue colored background, and I'm going to stamp hello on both the cards. On my blue background, I'm going to stamp it in Versamark and emboss it in white embossing powder. And for the other pink lilac shaded ombre background, I'm going to stamp it in black and emboss it with clear embossing powder. For the shaded lilac ombre background, I have cut my feather from a navy cardstock and I'm going to adhere both my feathers just like this to finish off my card and adhere my panels with 3D foam tape on top fold in white colored card bases. And isn't this card simple and so easy to do and quick and fun? I'm telling you, once you start rolling that roller, you are going to bray everything because I could not stop myself. And now that we are rolling, let's see what else can we do with such ink blended background. And I've got a little variation from the last technique that we did for my next card, where I'm going to bray Distress Oxide inks at an angle for like a little fluidity in the air, like how the wind blows. I start with my lightest color, and I usually do this whenever I'm blending. I start with my lightest. I've taken squeezed lemonade here, and then at the other corner I'm going to take peacock feathers and then blend these two colors together in between with cracked pistachio. You can change your colors, you can take 2 colors, 3 colors, 4 colors. The principle is the same, you just go from one direction. Keep braying in one direction. I go over with my colors again and repeat the same braying. And after you're done, your brayer may be very pigmenty, like the powdery stuff. So you can easily wash it off so that your brayer is clean for the next use. Let's go ahead and do the stamping. For this, I'm using the stamp set Wings of Hope by Crafty Meraki, and I'm going to use the solid stamp of the butterfly for stamping. But before I stamp, I need to make sure that my panel is properly dried, so that because I'm going to do some clear embossing of black ink, the residue of the powder does not stick onto my card panel. I use my powder tool before I stamp my butterfly with Versamark and use clear embossing powder and heat emboss it. I'm going to do the same and have 2 of these butterflies stamped on my panel. Have you come across Crafty Meraki yet? Crafty Meraki is in business for last 1 year, and I'm so honored to be on the design team now. We are celebrating Merakiversary, which is the 1st year anniversary of Crafty Meraki, and have amazing products launched which are cute and beautiful if you're into florals or babies or cute critters, slimline dies, word dies, you name it and they have it. And in case you want to check, you can check in my description box the link to the Crafty Meraki store and also get a 10% additional discount if you use my code Ishani10. For the sentiment for the butterflies, I take the Be Brave sentiment from the same set. I stamp it with Versafine and clear emboss it too. And to finish it off, I'm using 3D foam tape to mount it on a top folding white colored card base. Isn't it easy? It is a beautiful technique if you want to try silhouette stamping and solid stamping. You know what I love about this brayer technique is that it is so fun to play with it. It is like somebody's given me a toy and I'm just braying and blending and I am loving it. Let's go ahead and see what else can we do. I extended my playtime in the garden, and me and my son, we started looking for leaves which had prominent ribs. And he found that the sunflower, the garden sunflower that we had prominent ribs. And then I looked into the hedge and found some creepers, and these leaves looked good too. So let's see what else can we do with the brayer. These are the 2 leaves that I'm going to use for my projects. For my first little note card, I'm taking the sleeve and I'm taking 2 colors in green. These are Memento inks because these are small and handy and can be easy to apply on the leaf. I chose these. After I apply the color, I gently pick it up and place it on my paper. Then I take a copy paper and then bray over my leaf. It is basically stamping the leaf, and I am so amazed at how beautiful it has come. Now I can just simply stamp a sentiment to finish off a little sweet thank you note card. Next card is just a little variation of what we did earlier. This time I'm going to stamp 2 leaves on craft paper with black ink, and I'm going to do the same thing. And for sentiment, I am taking this stamp set by Crafty Meraki called Elegance and stamp the sentiment, You Are Special. After this, I realized that it needed something white, so I trimmed out my card base and then I took a white card base and aligned 2 squares in a way that if you die cut them, there is a frame that cuts out. And I added this white frame around my leaves. And now I think this looks better. What do you say? At this point, let me request you, if you're liking my work, please do subscribe to my channel. It means a lot. Next, I'm going to show you two techniques. The first technique requires cling film. So I've taken cling film and let it be naturally get crumbled, you know how it really behaves. So I always hate it. Anyways, so we want that on the brayer, and I wrap it around my brayer, take my Distress Oxide, and then ta-da! Look at that! Oh my god, how cool is that? Doesn't it look like a marble effect? I love it. I am not sure if this has been done. I'm sure people have done this technique earlier, but I've never seen this before. So it is like, I want to do it so much more. Now that we are playing with textures, let's add some bubble wrap to our marbled paper. And I've taken this bubble wrap and I am going to adhere it with the tape and use a different ink. I'm using this vintage photo. Look at this leopard pattern. So cool. And I'm not really a grunge and mixed media person, but I love these textures. One thing to remember while using Distress Oxide inks is that you need to let them dry in between the applications. I'm using heat tool for it because the glossy paper we are using does not absorb the ink very fast. Let's convert it into a cool card. I've taken this Jazz It Up stamp set by Visible Images, and I'm taking my dirty stamping platform to stamp this image with VersaFine Onyx Black, and then I'll be clear embossing with clear embossing powder. Yeah, right. And I know many of you wonder, why doesn't she clean her stamping platform? But if I keep cleaning, when will I get time to make cards? You know, there's so much to do anyways. This can wait. I also heat emboss my sentiment, and because I've used my heat tool a lot on this card base, it has warped a little, and I'm going to use a double-sided strong tape to adhere it on a top folding black card base. And I really like the way this card turned out. A lot of texture, such a masculine card. You see this blue panel? I've done the same technique, cling film technique, with the blue ink on this panel. I really had fun making textures on this card, and I'm going to try it more. It's such a playtime for me with the brayer. I hope you liked it. Let's go ahead and do some more techniques. Next technique is a technique that I learned from Lol Thompson, and I'll link to her video down below, for which you take some rubber bands and wrap them around your brayer. Now I ink up my rubber band and go on my paper. So this creates texture, little waves, and I thought I'll make an ocean scene card with a blue color card base, which will be like my water. I use another blue for making some more waves, and then to convert it into a card, I've taken this cute octopus from a Simon Says stamp set, and I colored it with Copics and fussy cut it to put it in my ocean. I take one of the sentiments from the same stamp set and heat emboss it with white embossing powder. And then I assemble my card with this blue base on a white colored cardstock and my cute little octopus. Here is another example of the rubber band technique where I've made these grids with silver embossing powder on a navy cardstock. Isn't this technique a cool way to add texture? The brayer is an ultimate tool, and the amount of techniques that we can use are like limitless. For the last card, I'll just tell you how I did it. I used the brayer to apply ink on one of the sides of the embossing folder where the paper will come as embossed. I gently put a paper and I have a tape to close the embossing folder, and I run it through my die cutting machine. For the sentiment, I'm using this Hello die by Crafty Maraki, and it is a beautiful die, and it comes in like 3 die cuts you get from this single piece. One is a border like this. This is like a birthday die, I'm sorry, but you get similar dotted background, like the outermost layer is this dotted, and then you have like a shadow and the main. It is a beautiful die and I really love it. And they have various sentiments: hello, love, happy birthday, You name it and they have it. Here's my assembled card, and this card is made by something inspired from within my house for the timeout challenges. If you want to check out, you can check in the description box below. I have the link to my blog post. I hope you liked all the ideas that I shared with you with the brayer, and will take out your brayer and have fun rolling it. I'm sorry for this longish video, but I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun, and thank you so much for stopping by. I'm very grateful for your time. Take care and happy crafting. Bye bye.